What is stopping you from chasing your dreams? That is a question I asked a client recently. So, I have a client who is interested in leaving her 9 to 5 job and she wants to start an online business as a way to support herself. And the steps to do that are very simple. We laid them out. She created her offer. We came up with how she was going to receive payment. And then the time came to actually do the thing that gets people to know what she's doing, right? And that is putting herself out there. That is creating content. That is, basically trying to generate traffic, like how I'm talking to you guys right now. And that's where we had a roadblock on her journey, because that's when I saw that she was having all of these fears, right? And I asked her the question, like, what is it? What is stopping you? And so today I want to talk about some of the fears that people have that stop them from getting what they want, right? You want to have freedom from your 9 to 5. Your 9 to 5 is not working for you. So you want to create a new business. Maybe you want to create an online business. But there are a few things that are required for you to do an online business. For one, you need to be able to put yourself out there. And so one of the first fears that I see people having is the fear of visibility. Okay. People want to have a business, right? But they don't want to put themselves out there. And I'm just like, well, then how are people going to find you, right? How do people know what you do? How will people know that you can help them solve a problem if you don't put yourself out in the marketplace, right? And so people would rather do different ways of marketing that don't involve them putting themselves out there. They're like, okay, maybe I can do SEO. I can hire a marketing company and I can do SEO, which doesn't even exist anymore because AI is taking over that. Or maybe I can write a blog, or maybe I can hire somebody in the Philippines to make these little posts on Canva and post them on Instagram. And then that's going to be the thing that I will do to drive traffic. And I'm like, so I asked her, like, how did you find me, right? Like, what was it that made you find me? And she was like, well, I saw you on social media doing what you're doing, and I wanted to know if you could help me do the same thing. I said, okay. So you saw me visibly put myself out there, and that was what made you take the step, right? And so you didn't see a post of mine, right? You didn't see an ad of mine, or I wasn't suggested by Google. It was something that you saw on social media that made you say, hey, I want to work with this person. I want to do what they're doing. So that means you probably have to take the steps that I took to be able to find you, right? And so that's when the hang-ups started, where she was just like, but I got all the excuses, but I don't want to post because my friends are on social media and they might see me posting. And I was like, okay, and if your friends see you posting, what's going to happen? And she was like, well, they're going to be like, maybe they're going to judge me. Maybe they're going to say, she's a doctor, she has a 9 to 5. Why is she posting on TikTok? Or why is she posting on Instagram? Or why is she posting on YouTube? That was the question. And I was like, well, do they know the situation that you're in? Do they know the struggles you're dealing with in your 9 to 5? Do they know why you're in so much pain that you would rather start a new business and start a new venture than work your 9 to 5? And she was like, no. And I'm like, are they helping you in any way with the situation that you're dealing with? And the answer was no. And so then I was like, well, then there's really nothing that you need to be worried about, right? Sure, they might think that, oh, that's odd that all of a sudden she's making videos, right? They might think that, oh, maybe she wants to be an influencer, because that's the thinking that people have. Or they may not even see your videos. Like, people always worry about what everybody is doing not realizing that everybody has their own problems, and they may not even necessarily notice the changes that are happening. They may not notice that you're making videos. They may not notice that you're putting yourself out there. So we had this conversation of, instead of worrying about what other people are going to think, it's very possible that they're not going to think those things in the first place. So there's this fear, right? Like, oh, they're going to judge me. Oh, they're going to wonder, maybe I'm trying to be an influencer. Oh, all of this. And all of those things are coming from a place of fear. And the bottom line, or the most likely thing that's happening, is they're probably not going to think anything of it. Because what are the chances that the people that you're afraid of are always going to be online, right? Watching to see, okay, is she posting now? I mean, if somebody is doing that, then they really need to get a life. But the chances are that there's very little likelihood that they're going to see what you're posting. And so one of the things that we did was we took the frame and we changed it into a positive thing. And we're like, what are the positive things that they could think, right? Because, you're still going to worry or wonder what other people are going to say, because that's just human nature. But why don't you just turn it into a different thing? Turn it into something positive. Maybe they're going to say, hey, she's courageous to put herself out there, right? Maybe they're going to say, hey, the content that you're putting out is actually helpful, right? Maybe they're going to say, hey, I saw you posting and I've been thinking about posting, but I've been too afraid. And then I saw you posting and I was like, oh, maybe I could post too. And so one of the things that I love to do with my clients is to listen to their fears and play out the fear all the way to the end, right? Because fear at the end of the day always ends in death, right? And I'm like, if the fear does not result in death, then we can turn it around, right? We can turn it into something positive, because that's just how our brain works. Our brain loves safety. Our brain loves certainty. Our brain loves things that are familiar. And so when you do something that is out of the ordinary, it's automatically going to be very fearful. And it's going to come up with all these reasons why you shouldn't do it. And its ultimate fear is that you're going to die, right? And so when you work through the fear, you can say, you know what? If I put myself out there, I'm probably not going to die, right? Like, you work through all the different things that you think will happen. And if none of them lead to death, then you know that it's not a rational fear, right? And it's not like you're putting yourself in front of a lion and saying, I'm going to see if this lion's not going to eat me. And the lion may not eat you, but the likelihood that you're going to die from that experience is very high. But the likelihood that you're going to die from putting a camera on and talking on it and then posting it on a computer is very, very low, right? Especially because probably nobody's going to see it. And if somebody sees it, you have to choose to believe that it's going to be beneficial for you. So the first fear that I see a lot of people dealing with is the fear of visibility, is the fear of judgment. And I want to say that if it's not going to result in death, it is not a real fear. You can turn it around. You can think about all the things that could possibly go wrong and turn it around and find a reason why you doing the action is going to actually help other people and how it's also going to help you. Because when you put yourself out there and you do it consistently, you realize that it's not a rational fear anymore and you're going to relax, right? And that helps you reduce the stress that you have on your body, because we live in a stressful world and everything seems like it's going to lead to death. And so if you can work through your fears and get to the point where you say, oh, if I do this thing, I'm not going to die, then you approach a lot of things in life in a better way and in a more rational way, and you don't let your irrational mind or irrational brain control everything. Another fear that I see a lot of people dealing with, and a fear that stops people from getting what they want, is the fear of not being good enough, okay? So, and I'm going to share a story from me because this is something that I had an experience with. So in the past, when I was in practice, I used to do a lot of TikTok videos to grow my practice. That was how I grew my practice. And I went to a conference with other physicians, and a few of them came to me and said, hey, we saw you on TikTok. We love how you make videos on TikTok. We want to learn how to make videos on TikTok. Can you teach us? And so I had this thing in my mind where I was just like, well, I'm trained to be a doctor. I can tell you doctor stuff, but I'm not a marketer, right? Like, I didn't go to school for marketing. I just went on YouTube, read up on some things about TikTok, and then I started making videos on TikTok because I felt like at the time that was the fastest way to grow my business, and that is literally what I use for my business for since from 2020 till early 2026. That is what I use primarily for lead generation for my business. But in my head, I didn't think I was good enough to teach other people marketing because I did not have a marketing degree. And I don't know, there's just this thing in a lot of people's minds where people feel like they need to get certifications, they need to get marketing degrees, they need to get some degree to feel like that gives them the permission to do the thing. And that robs a lot of people of doing what they want to do, right? Like, for example, I'm growing an online business right now. I could take a course on or go to a school on business, get an MBA and all that, but that's not going to teach me anything, right? Doing the thing is the fastest way to learn the thing. And so I was very uncomfortable with the idea of teaching other people how to use TikTok to grow their business. But then I was just like, they're asking me, right? They're asking me to learn this. There must be something that they see that I don't see. And so even though I did not have a marketing degree, even though I didn't know what I was going to do, I just thought to myself, I know the steps that I take to make videos, and I'm just going to share those steps with these people over a period of time and then see what the feedback looks like and see how it goes, right? And so I didn't let my fear of not being good enough, because, I've seen other people who call themselves TikTok marketing experts. It didn't matter because the people who were coming to me, they saw me as an expert. They had seen me make videos over a 2-year period. They had seen my videos go viral on TikTok, and they wanted to know how they could do something similar, which meant that I was good enough. That meant I had put in enough reps to get attention to do the thing. And so the reason I say this is because a lot of times, if you're a professional and you want to go into a new thing, like, for example, you're a physician and you want to start an online coaching business, you might feel like, I need to go to some coaching school, or I need to do whatever because I don't have enough information in me, or what I have in me, you perceive it as not being enough to give to other people. And sometimes that is just a fear of not loving yourself enough. That might be a tangent, but sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes we feel like we need to get things outside to fill ourselves up before we present ourselves to the world, right? So that's where the certifications come in, that's where the coaching comes in, or whatever. You get as much knowledge as possible, and you accumulate and accumulate and accumulate, and you think that once you do that accumulation, that is then going to make you feel full enough to present yourself to the world. But that actually is going to take time. That is going to stop you actually from taking the steps, because while you are filling up yourself with knowledge, with certifications, trying to learn all the things that you think you're supposed to learn, somebody who doesn't have as much experience but feels like, hey, I know step 1, step 2, step 3, I will tell these people step 1, step 2, step 3, will be able to go ahead much faster than you and will learn a lot more along the way. And so I want to say that the fear of not being good enough isn't a good enough reason to not put yourself out there, okay? One of the things I have learned is that if you are 1 or 2 steps ahead of somebody, you can help people, okay? There are people who just want to know the first step to solving their problem, right? And if you know that one step, you can share that one step so that they can solve their problem, okay? And that is good enough, because they don't know that you don't know step 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? But they don't care about step 4, 5, 6. They just care about step 1. Can you help them with step 1? And you can start a business doing that, right? And I learned that because I was able to sell. I think I did it for 3 months that I worked with these doctors, and I sold that as a course or a coaching program, and we worked together for 3 months, and they had really good results, and they were happy. Until this day, some of them are still posting on TikTok to grow their businesses, TikTok and Instagram. So if I had said I need to go to a school or take a course on how to teach TikTok, then I wouldn't have made that money and I wouldn't have gained that experience. And it's because of that experience that I am now here on YouTube talking to people and helping and wanting to help other people not just grow on YouTube, but use video marketing, use YouTube to grow their online businesses, because I have now gained enough experience and I have grown a business using social media, and I have evidence that it's possible. So now I can do the same thing. I have taught other people how to do it, so now I know I can do the same thing. Now the platform is different, right? I am on YouTube now, and in the past I taught on TikTok. But the fundamentals are the same, right? Posting content, short form versus long form. Yes, there are differences, but as long as the content is good and as long as you're consistent in posting, you're going to gain momentum and you are going to learn about the platform. Another thing that I see a lot of people worrying about is the fear of making mistakes, especially when you put yourself out there and you make a mistake or you say something the wrong way or whatever, and there's this fear that people are going to judge me. Again, it's the same fear, right? People are going to judge me. How can I be a professional and make a mistake? And so you see this perfectionism tendency happen where people are like, okay, I'm going to take a whole week to work on the intro of my video, or I'm going to take a whole week to film one video, and I'm going to do all these steps, right? And make sure that everything is perfect. I hear that all the time. I want the video to be perfect. And when the video is perfect, then I will post it. And I'm like, that's not how business works. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I currently work with a lot of physicians. And I was telling her that her brain is the brain of a physician right now. And it is very important to have a brain that is very analytical, right? Where it's like, you do this, you take this step, step by step by step. Why? Because if you don't do things in a certain way, if you don't evaluate things in a certain way, someone's life is going to be at risk, right? Physicians handle people's lives in their hands. So they have to take certain steps. They have to take certain processes. In a way, they have to chase perfectionism in order to make sure that they are taking care of a person's lives. Because if they're not perfect and they don't take the steps that they need to take, they are not going to be able to be the best doctor that they need to be, right? So that's the doctor side. That's whatever profession that you're doing. But when you're trying to now start a business, that mindset is not going to work, because business is messy. It's like, how do I even want to say this? It's like having and it's like funny. It's like having an autistic brain and then having an ADHD brain. I say this because I feel like I have both, and so it's like always a tug of war, like which one is winning, which one is not, and so I have to almost use my ADHD brain when I am in business mode, and then use my more autistic brain when I'm in doctor mode, but I'm kind of abandoning doctor mode right now. And so if you want to start a business, you have to be willing to make mistakes, because that is how you're going to learn, right? The opposite is true in a profession. If you make a mistake in a profession, like a medicine or whatever job that you do, if you make a mistake, it could cost somebody their lives. And so in that frame of mind, making mistakes is not a good thing. But you can't transfer that into business, right? Into starting something like a business or doing business. You are only going to learn when you make a mistake. And so it's very difficult for people to make that transition, because they're so used to not making mistakes that when you then tell them they need to make mistakes, it's like a juxtaposition. It's just like, I don't get it. They fight it so much. And so the idea of putting themselves out there, making mistakes, not looking perfect, all the things, stops them from doing what they want. But I made a video earlier in the week saying that if you want something, you're going to have to go into the side of uncertainty. You're going to have to go into the side of chaos, honestly. You're going to have to go into the side of making mistakes. You're going to have to go into the side of not worrying what people think about you. You're going to have to do the complete opposite of what you normally do in order to get what you want, right? And so people that I see typically are in a 9-to-5, or they're in a very rigid work environment, and so they might do it for a while and it works for them, but after a while things happen, right? You have kids, or your needs change, and it requires flexibility. So now you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business to be able to get the flexibility. But if you want that flexibility, it requires you to almost abandon the way that you did things before, because you're now trying to do a new thing, and you have to do the polar opposite. And so you have to unlearn so many things from the professional side, the 9-to-5 side. You have to abandon a lot of those things so you can be more dynamic and get the freedom that you want, right? Because freedom means you're going to be dynamic. It means that you can control things. And so that, for a lot of people, tends to be a bit of a struggle. But I want to say, if you are going to start a business, if you are going to put yourself out there, you have to be willing to make mistakes, because it's the only way that you learn. I'll give you an example. When I make videos, for example, I make mistakes. I say I'm still working on it. It's not perfect, but I just do what I have to do. Okay. And now my video is about to go off because my battery is about to die. And that's not going to look great in the video, but I will just continue when I change my battery. Like I was saying before, you need to embrace mistakes happening. You need to embrace making mistakes. You need to embrace not being perfect, because it's the only way that you're going to learn. So for example, I noticed that I do a lot of ums in my videos. I'm still working on that, but I'm not letting the fact that I say ums in my videos stop me from making the videos. I also noticed that, I also have a life where things are very dynamic that I might not be able to control. So sometimes my dog was going to open my door in my videos. Sometimes my kids are going to interrupt me. Sometimes the battery is going to die, right? And that's not going to stop me from making the video, because the video and putting myself out there is what I need to do to get what I want, right? And so all I can do is watch the video moving forward and make some changes. Maybe next time when I start the video, I'll make sure that the battery that I use is full. Or maybe the next time I'm making my video, I'll make sure that my door is locked, right? And so all I can do is learn from each video and then keep moving forward, taking one step at a time. That is the journey of business. That is the journey of the unknown, is taking one step, learning from that step or learning from that day, and then taking the next step and iterating and adjusting course. That is business, okay? There will be a point in the business where now you need the structure, right? The structure that you had from the professional life. But when you're starting out, that structure does not make sense. For example, I was just thinking about this the other day. When a person is getting pregnant, like let's say you get pregnant, right? You start out with an embryo, which is one cell. And then in the beginning, the first 7 days, it's going to rapidly multiply, right? So it goes from 1 to 2 to 4 to 16, right? And it just keeps growing that way. And that's the pace that you need to be going in when you're starting a business. You just need to take one step at a time. Take the next step, take the next step. And if it makes a mistake, then the pregnancy is not going to be viable, right? And so if you make a mistake, it's going to help redirect you. You're going to be like, or if you do something for a period of time and it's not working, then you're like, oh, okay, I have enough information to make changes. Like I said, you're going to be able to iterate, right? But if you look for perfection and then you put yourself out there and you've already missed the boat, or you've waited too long for people to find you, maybe they find somebody else. Let's say you're putting yourself out there. I'll give you an example. You want to help people who have problems with iron, right? Iron deficiency. And there are people looking for someone who can help them with iron deficiency outside of taking pills. But you're trying to make your videos and you're trying to make them perfect. It doesn't matter. They don't know that you exist. They're just looking. And so whoever they find, that's who they're going to go to. And so now you present your perfect video out there, but they've already gone away, right? And it's because you didn't put yourself out there enough for people to find you, for people to realize that this is a passion that you have. And so the point I'm trying to make is you cannot let the fear of making mistakes stop you from taking the steps you need to take in order for you to start your business, or in order for you to start any endeavor. It could be weight loss, it could be content creation, it could be starting a business. It doesn't really matter. You cannot let fear stop you from doing what you want to do, okay? Are you okay?
Sorry, that was Remy.
Okay.
Remy, are you okay?
Kids. So you cannot stop any of the fears from letting you get what you want, okay? That's really the point of this video. So if you have the fear, walk yourself through all the different steps. What is the thing that you're afraid of? What is the repercussions of the fear? Walk yourself all the way to the end. And if the fear does not result in death, then it is okay to do the thing, okay? But if the fear results in death, then it is a real fear. So you need to know the difference between a rational fear and an irrational fear. And a lot of times, the thing that's stopping people from doing what they want is an irrational fear. It's a fear of fear of being seen, fear of judgment, fear of making mistakes, fear of getting out of their comfort zone. Oh my God, this is a huge one, right? Because you have been doing things in a certain way for such a long period of time that you've become comfortable with it. Even if it is a painful thing, it might still feel comfortable, right? It's like, I'd rather stay in what I know, right, than go into something that I don't know. And so the fear of the unknown, or the fear of getting out of your comfort zone, is stopping you from doing all the things. And so you have to ask yourself and work through all those fears. Like, what is stopping me? Like, how is this comfort that I am in helping me? If it's not helping you because you're in a situation where you don't like your 9 to 5 and you're like, I want to start a business, then clearly the comfort that you're in is not serving you. And so you have to then make the decision to say, hey, I need to do the fear of the unknown. And what is the worst case scenario that can happen? You walk yourself all the way through to the end. And if the answer is death, that is okay, right? Get to that point and then ask yourself, well, do I want to choose death or do I want to choose life, right? And then you can still change the frame of it being a fear and turn it into, well, what if it works for me? And that is ultimately the thing I think that pushes a lot of entrepreneurs, even when things are not working out. And I know that that's something that I can relate to, where I do things not from a place of fear, but from a place of excitement, from a place of possibilities, from the place of my imagination. Because when I wake up in the morning, I imagine a life that I want, and a life that has flexibility, a life that gives me the comforts that I want, all the things. And I know that the life I had before was not giving me all those things. So then I am willing to do the thing that I need to do with the mindset that it is going to work for me. And that allows me to keep doing the things I need to do. That allows me to put myself out there, even if nobody is watching. That allows me to work with my clients and coach them. Even if I make a mistake, like I make mistakes with my clients all the time. And I'm like, hey, I made a mistake, just for them to see that, hey, I am a human being too, and I make mistakes, but nothing bad happens. We always learn from the mistakes. And the most important thing that you have to do is that you're moving in a forward or upward trajectory. Okay, if you take one step at a time, you're going to learn and you're going to grow. And that is what is necessary if you want to be a business owner. You have to abandon your fears and you have to move in the direction of what you want, even when you feel the fear. Okay, if you feel the fear, work through it and turn it around and make it a positive thing. And if you do those things, you will be successful. It may not take it may happen quickly. It may not happen quickly. It doesn't really matter. All you need to care about is that you're taking the steps, you're taking the actions in the direction of what you want. Okay, the outcome or the results are not up to you. They are not something that you can control. The only thing you can control are the inputs. They're the things that you do. And if you do them out of fear, you're going to get fear-based results. And if you do them out of excitement and certainty and love, then those are the results that you're going to have. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is take all your fears and turn them around into possibilities, into positive possibilities, and then work from that frame of mind. And eventually, whether it's in a week, a month, a year, you're going to get the results that you want to have. But if you think in the opposite direction and you're constantly in fear, you're going to freeze, you're not going to move, and things are going to happen slowly or they're not going to happen at all. So I hope that this video was helpful. It was a rant like I do in the mornings when I wake up and I just have an idea. So I write down what I'm thinking, and I was thinking about the different fears that I see my clients dealing with, and I just wanted to talk about that and hope that it helps somebody out there. I'm not great at YouTube yet. I'm still learning, but I'm putting myself out here every day. And as I do that, I'm going to learn. I'm going to see what people like. I'm going to adjust and keep making videos so that I can grow, right? But the only way to do that is to put myself out there, is to make mistakes, is to not worry about fear of judgment, is to do it whether I am good at it or not, right? It's just to believe in the possibility that I can grow my business using YouTube. I can grow my business working from home between a certain 4-hour window. I can grow my business and raise my kids at the same time. Those are the things that I have wanted, and that is why I am here doing this, because I have decided that the future that I want is a future where I have flexibility at home. I can spend the majority of my time raising my kids, but I can still take 4 hours a day and work on my business and still make the same amount of money that I was making when I was working in an office. Those are the things that I believe. Those are the possibilities that I choose to believe in. So I'm taking the steps in that direction, and then the results are going to be the results. Okay, I don't have control over the results. I only have control over the actions that I take, and so I choose to take those actions daily. And then as I'm taking those actions, I keep getting better and better, and then hopefully I will get the results that I want, right? And if I don't get the results that I want, then I am going to adjust course. But I cannot sit and say, oh my God, I am so scared that it's not going to work out, because if I'm scared it's not going to work out, it probably won't work out. If I'm scared, I'm not going to take the actions that I need to take. So fear is not going to help you get what you want. It's only holding you back from getting what you want. And like I said, if the fear is not going to result in you dying, then it is not a rational fear. So talk to yourself, think it out, and decide that you prefer the possibilities that you want more than the fear of what could happen. And if you go in the direction of the possibilities, you will take the actions and you will get the results. All right, I hope that video was helpful. I will see you on the next video.